I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these masks or face covering. I'm going to show you how to make it the ones that hook behind your ears, or a more child-friendly version that hooks behind the head. You can use all sorts of upcycled and recycled fabrics. For your mask making, you will need to have some fabric. Now, preferably your fabric has got to be 100% cotton or very rich in cotton, and if you don't have fabric and you can't go out and buy some, you could always upcycle an old shirt or an old dress. Just make sure the fabric isn't stretchy and that it's rich in cotton. Wash it beforehand in a high temperature so that it shrinks and that it's nice and clean. You will also need to make this a pair of scissors, a needle and thread, some elastic or cord, a tape measure, and also a hair clip or a safety pin. Perfect. So these are the things that you will need. So I'm going to talk to you about the dimensions of your fabric. So remember, your fabric should be cotton, and if possible, and make sure that it's nice and clean. So you've got an inner fabric, and if you're working in centimeters, you might want to write this down. It's 15.5 times 20.5 centimeters, but if you like working in inches, there are your measurements. It's 8 times 6, and that is for the inside bit of your fabric. And for the outside bit of your fabric, you've got 24 centimeters times 18, or if you like working in inches, those are your measures there. So as you can see, your fabric, your outside fabric, is slightly bigger than your inside fabric. So there you are. And now I'm going to show you how to stitch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place this inside fabric on the top line here, and I'm just going to stitch along there. If you have a sewing machine at home, you can do this on your machine, but the reason I'm going to do this by hand is just to show you that without a machine and with very few resources, you can make yourself a pretty good mask. My stitching on both my sides, and I've just done a really quite crude running stitch. I will do a smaller running stitch on the next step. So take this and turn it inside out. There you are, and now you have the inside of your mask and the outside of your mask, and what you need to do is iron down these seams here. So because you're working with cotton or a very rich cotton fabric, just make sure that your iron has got plenty of steam and is nice and hot. So press that down there, get a nice crisp edge, and do your other one. Now at this point you will need some scissors, and what you're going to do is just cut these little edges here. So snip that away. Snip all 4 corners away. So I've snipped away my 4 corners, and now I'm just going to use the iron to fold the edges. So what you want to do is roll this in once and then twice, and you want this to be about a centimetre and a half wide, because you're going to put an elastic or cord through there. So just hold that in place, and again with a nice hot iron and plenty of steam, just press that down, because that's going to help you when you're stitching that in place. Give it a good press. Do the same with the other side. Roll in once and roll in twice. Centimetre, centimetre and a half, and give it a nice press. Plenty of steam. And what you're left with is like a little rectangle where you're going to stitch down here and stitch down there, which I will show you on the next step. And that's the inside of your mask there. So now I've got my seams here, and what I'm going to do is a running stitch all the way along here and another running stitch all the way along there. Now what you need to do is this running stitch needs to be a bit closer together, and the ends need to be really secure because this is where your band is going to run through. Elastic through these two channels here, and what I'm going to do is I've got my bits of elastic. I've decided to do a mask that hooks behind the ear, so it's again a measure of about 33 centimeters that you will need. Might be a bit shorter or a little bit bigger depending on the size of your face. So hook the end of your elastic onto a safety pin and close it, and what you're going to do is you're going to feed that through that channel there, and it's just a case of sort of feeling with your fingers and pulling it in and pushing it out, and you will have to do this with both sides. Almost there. And sometimes it's a little, there we are, pull it out, and there you see you've got your elastic on. And then you need to go away in front of the mirror and try it on, make sure it fits nicely, that it's not pulling too tight behind your ears, or that it's not so loose that it falls off. So there we are. So now just go and do some trying on and figure out where you want to sew that. So this knot here was where it fitted nicely around my ear. That was the right measure. So this is how you're going to do it. You're going to hold just below the tie, and what you're going to do is cut just above the tie. Cut that away. And then you want to hold with both of your fingers on the side of the knot without letting go, because that's a loose knot. You're going to pull that knot out, and there you see that that's your excess. Now where my nails are holding the elastic, you've got to sort of overlap those two areas there so you can see, and then just hold like that. So that place there in between my nails is where I want to stitch. Just make sure you're stitching there and secure that point. Just do 1 or 2 stitches there to start off with. Now what you will have is a fair amount of excess on the top and on the bottom of the elastic. So what you want to do is just cut that away. 1 and 2, and then you just really want to tidy up and secure this, because that's what's going to make sure that that sits nicely behind your ear, and you don't really want that stitching coming undone, because otherwise your face mask will come off. Stitch it nicely, strong, nice and neat. This golden thread is a bit difficult to use, but here we go. Tie it nicely together. cut off your thread. Now what you might want to do is just move the elastic around so that your seam is actually on the inside of this channel here. So just pull it all the way around. Be patient. Pull it. And what you have there is quite nice, neat face mask. For the version with the long elastics, just put your elastic through the channels as I showed you earlier. Use an elastic or a cord that is about 80 centimeters long, and make sure that you tie the ends securely in a knot. And if you've liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.